Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good afternoon, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to Sports Extra. I'm your host Ahmad Nawaz with the latest roundup of sports today. Joining me on Sports Extra today is cricket commentator and our cricket expert Asif Ahmad. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum assalam. I'm good, Ahmad.
Good to have you on the show. We've also been joined by sports expert Hassan Qureshi. Assalamu alaikum, Hassan. How are you?
I'm very good, Ahmad. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Great to have you on the show as well. Now, Asif, first of all, what we're discussing is Pakistan's tour to Sri Lanka. The schedule is there in front of us. Tour is going to comprise of 3 ODIs, 2 test matches in July. Sri Lanka, of course, a formidable side these days, and even in their home conditions. How are you seeing the tour?
It's really important for Pakistan, that after touring Australia, Pakistan had a good series. It was better for Pakistan, though we lost, but that the way Pakistan played, especially in Karachi, in Rawalpindi, it was good cricket, and it was a really big side, the top-notch side of the world, and Pakistan was playing against them. So we got the confidence. Now the Sri Lanka is slightly, if you talk about in terms of ICC test rankings, so we are better than Sri Lanka. So in that terms, if Pakistan is visiting Sri Lanka and playing 2 tests, really good for the World Test Championship. If Pakistan beating them 2-0, though it won't be really easy. But I want to see some, changes in a test side. And I want to see definitely Kamran Ghulam once again, because Kamran Ghulam was not there. Once again, top performer of the domestic 21-22 and scored 5 centuries, more than 1,000 runs. The average was pretty good, above 50. And on the number 2, if we talk about the Saud Shakil is still there, though he didn't perform well. But I think that Pakistan would be looking spinner. It's a good. It's a question mark that either we're going with the Sajid and Noman, or we are Yasir Shah, or I'm not considering Zahid anywhere in Test cricket, to be very honest.
The people are also considering Shadab, which I think to an extent might be
yes,
too
some people
harsh.
are talking about Shadab, but I think he's not playing even domestic cricket. So how you could
and carrying an injury as well.
Yes, and how you could bring him into the Test side, it would be question mark. So, but really important series for Pakistan. Pakistan will be playing their 2 tests. So I think it's a good chance to get some points there and victories there. So when you are going to the other countries, you'll be in better position.
Better position can be there, but Hassan, Sri Lanka, of course, has its share of ups and downs. But formidable side in their own home conditions. These young guys, some of them who we keep on seeing playing for Sri Lanka, can surprise you on any given day in Sri Lanka.
Yes, Ahmed, and they're also very attacking. They're a very attacking side. They go out, they're playing good, aggressive cricket. So I think while I do agree with Asif that we start off as favourites, Pakistan will need to eradicate some of the mistakes we made against Australia. We can't afford to be defensive. The spinners will have a big role to play, and the pace bowlers have a big role to play. So I think if Pakistan go in with an aggressive mindset, we can start off with an advantage. The last series against Bangladesh is a good example for us of how we can go and play well. So I think more of that, and then of course team composition, like you said, becomes very important. People like Fahim and others, how we set the team up becomes very important for us.
That's very important, and I think to an extent Pakistan has the ability to surprise themselves. So we don't want to make those mistakes now, do we?
You're always really funny when you come towards that. But I want to say something really important. And after Mahila Jayawardene and Kumara Sangakkara, Tilakratne Dilshan, even Angelo Matthews and their spinners, and then Herath and the other spinner, I forgot the name, the finger spinner, Anjanta Mendes. The same thing is that they're not getting the talent of that quality, and the same problem is with the Pakistan that though people are talking about that the Abdullah Shafiq is a really good emerging guy, the way he played against Australia, it was really good. But even then, in the middle order, when Fawad Alam is not performing well, he was not in the form, there would be question mark, and that is the answer of your question. That's why we are good enough to give surprises for ourselves.
But you talked about changes as well, Asif. Considering our fast bowling department, what changes do you want to see there as well? Obviously, you're going to carry Shaheen Shah Afridi. You probably would want to go with Naseem Shah, but that's what you normally do. But there is still no talk about Mohammad Abbas anywhere.
So why you are saying probably with Naseem Shah? Definitely he'll be in the side. Yeah?
You never know. So immediately Hassan Ali makes an entry and then you're like, okay, wait.
That would be completely disaster for Pakistan. If Hassan Ali is playing with the red ball, that would be completely disaster. Even is not good for the white ball even. So, sorry, if he's going for the red ball, then fine. But first talk about his performance and then second talk about his injuries.
Yeah, give him some time.
Yeah, give him some time. But I think that Abbas would be good idea, would be good choice for the Sri Lankan stuff, Sri Lankan, the environment, because he's a swing bowler, you know that. Yes, if you ask about my choice, yes, Abbas should be there.
That's very important that we see this as well. But obviously, it's not just the series, it's also the Asia Cup that hangs in the balance as well because of certain issues going on in Sri Lanka. And I think for cricket to progress, these issues should not be happening, but that's the world we live in. We've got a report on that. We'll take a look at that and then come back.
Sri Lanka is dealing with one of its worst economic crises in decades as the country has been plunged into political turmoil. The devastating economic crisis might see Sri Lanka lose the hosting rights of the upcoming Asia Cup 2022, and it is likely that the competition will be moved from the country. Asia Cup in a T20 format was announced to be held in Sri Lanka between August 27th and September 11th. All 5 teams including Sri Lanka, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh were set to feature in the tournament. However, the decision to change the venue will be made at the quarterly meeting of the International Cricket Council scheduled to take place in Dubai on Sunday. Pakistan Cricket Board Chairman Ramiz Raja and Chief Executive Faisal Hassan will attend the meeting. It must be noted that Sri Lanka is also scheduled to host Australia and Pakistan from mid-June to August 2022.
There you have it. All you need to know about the balance of the Asia Cup. That also is the uncertainty there is also prevailing. So you never know what that decision is going to be. So Hassan, Qureshi, not just the series. Obviously, we do hope that the series progresses. Pakistan has always been there in tough times for Sri Lanka and likewise Sri Lanka as well. But the Asia Cup really hangs in the balance.
It really does, and because of political issues, the other problem remains that you can't really bring it to Pakistan, can't really bring it to India, can't take it to Afghanistan. So it only leaves Bangladesh and the UAE as possible venues, which may not be possible. So they're going to have to think about this, and they're going to have to try and figure out a way to, because August to September in some of these other places is a lot hotter than it is in Sri Lanka. So the planning has to be done. Hopefully on Sunday they can come up with a decision that works out for everyone.
Very important. I, for one, do not want to see it in UAE. I'd probably see it in Bangladesh and hear the commentary of Mr. Athar Ali Khan, then take it to UAE. I'm not going there.
So why don't you want to see in Pakistan?
Well, I don't. I want to keep my fingers crossed, but then again, you never know. In our home conditions, we are difficult to play.
Well, no, I'll go definitely. If there is no Sri Lanka, if the situation will remain same, then the Asian Cricket Council will bring it to the UAE or the Bangladesh. So you'd have to bear Athar Ali Khan and Khalid Mahmood and the people like that. So they're good commentators, by the way, please. And
I never said anything. I said I want to enjoy them.
yes, then or might be you'll be enjoying them in UAE as well, because it's the Asia Cup and they're the best commentators in Asia.
Yes.
The Athar Ali Khan and if you talk about that, the Pakistan either playing in India or not, or India playing in
That's
Pakistan.
not happening.
I think there is no need to ask this question because I don't think so. India is coming to Pakistan for Asia Cup. So the only thing and the only place remaining where everybody would be happy, that would be UAE.
So, but this is one tournament that you would want Pakistan to dominate. Let's be honest.
Yes, the 5 teams are there, and all of them are really good teams.
Even
in
Afghanistan
T20.
now is absolutely.
Yes, the way they played in World Cup, and we had a really good match with them. And courtesy Asif Ali, who hit 5 sixes in a row, and Pakistan have won that match. Otherwise, we were in trouble, So, but Pakistan is a good side in T20. So we beat India, and Sri Lanka is, slightly struggling in T20 as well. Bangladesh is, even they were not in directly in Super 8, and they would have to play the qualifying role.
But you forget, it's always us versus us.
Us versus us. Yeah. Pakistan is now struggling for the betterment, and one thing is really important, that is the Ramiz Raja's role, the way he is leading Pakistan Cricket Board, the way bravely he is leading. So now people are asking either he would stay after the regime change in Pakistan, either he would stay as chairman PCB or not. So it's still
So uncertainty here as
yes,
well, obviously.
but I want to see him at least for next couple of years. Give him some time that because. But he wants something extraordinary changes in Pakistan cricket. He is an aggressive mind player. He is an aggressive mind personality. So let him perform. If you are asking if you are asking him to resign because the regime has been changed in Pakistan, won't be a good idea for Pakistan cricket. And he's really good with the captain as well, you know. And the entire staff is one thing is really pretty much clear that Lina was also saying in the other show that he's working day and night and he's working really hard for the betterment of Pakistan cricket.
Definitely. He is. Now going into Sri Lanka with the tour that we're discussing, 2 test matches there which were of particular importance because of the ICC Test Championship as well. Hassan, the spin saga is something we need to solve. Nothing to take away from Numan and Sajid, but probably we need more quality in that spin attack, especially going on with the wrist spinner. Yasir Shah does not seem to be in the plans.
No, it doesn't, Ahmad. And the other problem we're facing is that we just don't seem to have the quality at the moment. Do we take a risk, like you said, with Shadab? Do we go in with more part-timers? We're not really seeing that many players. That's why Sajid and Noman are playing, because they're the guys with the best record. So do you look at the previously finished domestic season, look over there, try and take someone? Do you make a left field decision, like maybe trying Asif Afridi, who's done the business with white ball cricket, not so much with red ball cricket? So it's going to be important for us. Asif, I said about Zahid. Zahid's been in the periphery. He's not really being considered for Test cricket, but who else is there? So that's something we have to really look at and try and sort out by then. Hopefully, maybe the fact that, Shadab will be playing some county cricket, Hassan Ali will be playing some county cricket, Abbas will be playing county cricket, and these guys will have a little bit of bowling behind them, might be of help. But yes, overall, if Sajid and Noman don't perform, then Pakistan's spin stock looks pretty bare at the moment.
Definitely, it does. Now, moving on to some other news from the world of cricket, we do know that Australia has appointed their head coach as well, and it's going to be Mr. Mcdonald who will be leading the Australian side, which is obviously a news. There was uncertainty there as well, but now they've settled that, and Andrew Mcdonald is going to be the new head coach for the Australian men's national team. Asif.
Well, this is called smart moves, and this is called, brave moves actually in Australia cricket. And they brought a guy who was not familiar in Test cricket, though he remained assistant coach with Justin Langer, and he was the coach for the Victoria as well. And to be very honest, that if you see the Victoria's performance during his tenure, they have won all 3 formats: the 4-day, ODI, and T20. All the formats have been won by the Victorias, and the head coach was Mr. Mcdonald, and he remained in IPL as well as a head coach, and now he was working with the Justin Langer. So this is called your planning, that you are bringing your professionals and giving them some time and grooming actually, it's really important. And because the dispute was actually the Justin Langer was not ready for a short-term earning contract, and he was looking for a long-term contract. But the way Australian played in Test series in the coaching of Mr. Mcdonald, it was great in Pakistan, and they won. Even they won the T20 match as well. So the Australian Cricket Board was happy with Mcdonald. So they've given the chance and given him 4 years contract. And I'm telling you that their mindset is always go with the aggressive approach. So same with the Mcdonald as well, because while coaching Victoria, he was pretty much, I've watched his videos and I was watching tonight, and he was pretty much enthusiastic concerning his job. So he would be creating another and good role in Australian cricket.
Hassan, Justin Langer's exit left a bad taste. Pat Cummins was even criticised for not standing up, but that will be that. Australia is a very tough sporting nation. They'll move ahead. Now with Mcdonald coming in, as Asif mentioned, with that aggressive mindset, somebody on a lighter side has even been part of a movie called We've Got the Toaster. So you never know that. Obviously, Australia is going to be a tough side all over the world, but with Mcdonald, that aggressive mindset is going to continue.
I think anyone who beats Pakistan in Pakistan deserves to get the gig, don't they, Ahmad? So I think that's the biggest thing he's got going for him at the moment. And then obviously the fact that Australia seem to have a good young side coming through. The players clearly get along with him a lot more than they did with Justin Langer. That's very important, managing the players. So they've put their faith in him. They're the World T20 champions. They're looking pretty good for the World Test Championship. And he's got a lot of young talent coming through. He'll be happy and they'll be happy.
He will be happy, but I mean, Australia, formidable side. They will never let these kinds of things affect their cricket, be it the exit of the captain, Tim Payne, at a very crucial juncture of the Ashes, be it Justin Langer saying goodbye and captain not standing. All these issues, they'll still continue as a cricket nation.
And be it if they're not playing with their 5 senior players against Pakistan, scoring 350.
That wasn't them, that was you. That was us. That credit goes to Pakistan.
Well, actually, you know, why I'm always talking about it's your aptitude and your mentality, actually, that you'd have to grow up as a mature player, and that's why look at their mindset, that they're bringing Matthew Hayden in the age of 28, and they're bringing Mike Hussey after scoring 10,000 domestic runs. They're bringing, so that's why. And you know, the Ricky Ponting, if you see his era, that captain in 2003 and then the captain in 2007 and winning the World Cup, giving them full, you know, freedom the way they are playing, and they're enjoying it. And I do remember in 2007 they went earlier in South Africa to enjoy the wildlife there, and to make up their mind, you know, to make up their nerves strong. So this is only the aptitude of Australia, and none other them. All of them, the rest of the teams, they don't follow. But actually, if you you know, the former Prime Minister Imran Khan, he tried to follow the Australian structure, but it was completely failed in Pakistan. Why? Because of the mindset.
So the mindset, until we change the mindset, no matter what system we bring in, it won't be successful.
It won't be successful. That's right. Because you know that while you are chasing, people are talking about the strike rates of Pakistani cricketers, especially Babar Azam. And look, the strike rate is not in your hand. What is that if you are playing fast, either you're playing slow, if you're winning the match, either by the strike rate of 80, either by the strike rate of 100. The result matters. But in Pakistan, we always talk about sixes. We always talk about either why he's not playing fast. And I do remember when Asif Ali hit 4, 5 sixes, and I've told to my colleagues, I've told to my friends that he would be playing for next 10 years after hitting these 5 sixes. And no one, because whenever you talk about that, the Asif Ali is not performing well, they will ask, yeah, he played really nice innings against Afghanistan in World Cup.
But Asif is a very powerful name in Pakistan, right? you know that.
So take full name, K. Asif.
K. Asif. Is that, but Asif, thank you very much for joining us on Sports Extra. On that note, we'll go towards a short break. But when we come back, we're going to hang on to Hassan and we're going to continue with UEFA Champions League football. It is right after this short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Sports Extra. Time now for our segment on football. We're still hanging to Hassan Hussain Qureshi. We're going to discuss the Champions League. 2 exciting games, one full of goals galore, one full of tunnel action as well. We're talking about, of course, Liverpool, who are taking on Benfica, and, of course, Manchester City taking on Atletico Madrid. All action of the Champions League as you wished for, and even up a notch. I think the intensity was increased when you talk about that City and Atletico Madrid game. It was absolutely fantastic to see. The emotions were there, definitely. Both sides wanted that victory and qualify for the semis. That is there to see. We've got a report on that. Let's take a look and then come back.
Liverpool set up a Champions League semi-final with Spain's Villarreal after Roberto Firmino scored twice in a 3-3 second leg draw with Benfica to ensure a 6-4 aggregate win. Jurgen Klopp's side had been 3-1 up on the night before Benfica struck twice late in the game on to create a jittery finale to what had appeared to be a comfortable passage. Brazilian Roberto Firmino scored twice after the break as Liverpool looked to make sure of a place in the semi-finals for the 3rd time in 5 seasons. Elsewhere, there were scuffles on and off the pitch as Manchester City played out a nerve-wracking goalless draw at Atletico Madrid that earned the English side a place in the Champions League semi-finals. Tempers flared in the closing stages as Atletico desperately tried to level the tie and force extra time following their 1-0 defeat in the first leg in England. Manchester City, bidding to win European club football's most prestigious trophy for the first time, will play record 13 times champions Real Madrid, who knocked out Chelsea in the quarter-finals. Liverpool set up.
There you have it, all you need to know about those Champions League encounters of last night that we're discussing, and the semi-final lineup, of course, has been completed as well. Hassan bhai, let's talk about the Liverpool game first. Goals galore. Benfica, of course, getting those last 2 equalizers very quickly, but Liverpool the better side on aggregate.
Yeah, I think once Liverpool had won away from home, energy, there wasn't really much Benfica could do other than go away with the draw. And Liverpool made a lot of changes also. This wasn't, their full strength side. They had quite the game against Manchester City in the Premier League just a few days earlier. So it just goes to show the strength and depth that they have. Benfica will be happy. They don't normally get this far, and they've got a lot of exciting young players. It remains to be seen now if they're still there next season. But Liverpool always looking comfortable, and I think it was, just the goals. Getting the draw was really mathematical at the end of the day. Liverpool were pretty much through even before the game started because they'd gone and won away in Portugal.
But true, but you got to hand it to Klopp. He's still got Premier League action on his mind as well. The difference there is very less. At the same time, putting on a stellar performance, and that too by resting two of your stalwarts in the game.
Absolutely, I think he's definitely. I mean, yes, it's very difficult for me to say this, but he's definitely the best manager in the world, if not one of the top 2 or 3. And his team is performing that way, and the fact that they're continuously doing it, and that they strengthened in the January window and brought in quality like Luis Diaz, it just goes to show you that he's constantly one step ahead of the game. And he's up against a very, very good City side who themselves are having a season to remember. So for English football, these two teams right now, they're on a different level to everybody else. And it's easy to see why.
Well, coming to the game of the night, I think City against Atletico Madrid, that action in the tunnel is unseen. We've seen scuffles on the pitch. We've seen that infamous headbutt from Zidane. Who can ever forget that from memories? But I mean, action in the tunnel is something special.
Yeah, especially for us United fans, Ahmad. We'll remember all those games against Arsenal where it would kick off in the tunnel. I think City showed a very different side to their game yesterday, and City showed that they're able to mix it when it gets physical. There's always been a feeling that if you subject City to physical pressure, they will wilt. They don't really have that. They like to play their free-flowing football, and the complaint always is, they don't like being kicked, they don't like being fouled. I thought they handled it very well yesterday because Atletico is Atletico. You and I will know about the way they beat Manchester United. All we could really do was just sit there and kind of look powerless. City didn't look powerless. They looked ready for it. And the fact that they were able to come back into the game physically and show that they were up for a fight is something that would make them and their fans very happy.
But from Atletico, this was expected. They've got a reputation of going up a notch when it comes to aggression.
Absolutely. It's the way they play. They go out, but they seldom run into other sides who are willing to match them for the aggression. A lot of the times the teams will think, okay, let them be aggressive. We'll keep trying to outplay them in the football. We saw a little bit of gamesmanship. We saw a little bit of time wasting. Something Atletico love to do, but when the boot is on the other foot, suddenly they're complaining more than anybody is. So I just think that the quality at the end of the day in City is just that little bit more. And when they were able to add steel to their skill, it just worked out for them so much better.
It did. Well, we've got two English Premier League sides once again in the Champions League semis. Probably one of them might make the final, might even win as well. So speaks volumes of the quality that Liverpool and City have, not just the best in the English Premier League, but probably one of the two best clubs in the world.
Yes, and you can tell from the look on my face, I'm really not happy about it, but they really are. They're absolutely, the way these clubs are run, the way they're coached, the kind of players that they have, the kind of players coming through that they bring in, it's just so far ahead. And the fact that, it's become, for too long, energy, we've seen a domination from the likes of Spanish sides. We've seen a lot of domination. We've seen Bayern Munich come in and do well. PSG also want to go out there and do well. So these sides are taking it to another level in England. And if the other teams don't really up their game to try and take them on, they've left most of them very far behind and easily, like you said, two of the best clubs in the world.
Well, United fans can definitely take a page from Lahore Qalandar's book and try to maintain it as much as they can. But, it's a sad part and a sad world we live in when we think about that. Moving on to the semi-final lineup, Real Madrid against City is probably going to be a final before the final. So let's talk about that first, the form that Real Madrid and Benzema is in, and then, of course, Modric coming to form. Absolutely phenomenal stuff.
It really is. And to think, you're 3-0 down at home, most people think, wow, you've thrown it away. But then the quality, I think that pass from Modric, and it's somehow amazes me that this is easily one of the best players in the world, but because he's not someone who has a great PR machine or someone who's constantly tweeting about himself, sometimes we forget how good he is. It's a lot like Benzema, who I think for some odd reason people still think, okay, I mean, they say he's underrated. How can you be underrated when you're that consistently brilliant? Uh, there are some troubles for Real. There are some worries for them. The fact that they were giving up goals that easily, the fact that they're, at times look like that they're vulnerable to be scored against, but then it always looks like they're going to go out there and score against you. And it would be no surprise. I mean, I believe this is going to be exceptional football. Two very, very good sides and two very, very good managers. Carlo Ancelotti, Pep Guardiola, these are guys who won the Champions League so many times. Real will probably go in as slight favourites, but you cannot count City out. And you just worry as United fans that if this time City make it all the way, they're not gonna mess it up again.
They won't mess it up. And talking about the other game, Liverpool against Villarreal. Now, Unai Emery, the way he's brought Villarreal up a notch, first the Europa League, now to the Champions League semi-finals. I think only thing Arsenal fans can do is do that infamous Pakistani fan move. That's all they've got to do.
Yeah, I mean, Emery's record speaks for itself, Ahmad. I mean, consistently to keep winning the Europa League, which a lot of people try and put down as being some kind of, poor level tournament, when it's really not, when you consider the kind of teams that play in it. And he will have his hands full up against a very, very good Liverpool side. But you think to yourself, and I heard Jurgen Klopp say this as well, this is a guy who has excelled in Europe. You cannot take him lightly. Villarreal have been to the semi-finals before of the Champions League, so it's not brand new territory for them. They're coming off, obviously, as Europa League winners, as you and I will remember all too clearly. Nothing to lose. They had that same attitude against Bayern. They went out, nothing to lose. If they can knock Liverpool out, they'll be very happy, and you and I will be very happy. So let's hope that happens.
Well, let's see. We definitely want to see that. But one team that you put your money on out of all four, probably one that is going to win the Champions League.
I know people will say this is biased, but it has to be Real Madrid because of Carlo Ancelotti and because of the players that they have. And how brilliant would it be if he brings Bale back in one last time just to score the winning goal in the final if one of the other English teams makes it? So I'm putting my money on Real Madrid.
On Real Madrid. I think that comes a lot from being a United fan, but that would be the case. But Hassan Qureshi, thank you very much for joining us on Sports Extra. Always great having you. One thing is for sure, that whether it's Real against City, whether it's Villarreal against Liverpool, exciting. The Champions League, even after last night's encounter with Atletico Madrid, that tunnel action, that video is going to be making headlines. I think that's going to be there for meme content and for sharing all around the world. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Just goes to prove how much emotion goes into football and how much these sides, how badly they wanted this spot in the semis and how badly they want the Champions League, what the Champions League means to club football and the world of club football as well. That's all we have time for. We'll catch you tomorrow once again. From me and the entire team of Sports Extra, it's goodbye for now.